Hi folks, welcome back to another one of our short videos. Today I'm going to take you around this Mk8 Golf GTI, which we've just completed an audio upgrade in. In here we're using the Hertz Mille Legend components, so these are absolutely lovely, and in fact this is the third car that this customer's had the Legends installed into, so we've read them several times. It's the usual setup in the front doors, so tons of soundproofing in there. It's a 3-layer system, so we take the whole thing apart to get right into the door cavity. We then create a very strong baffle down in that bottom corner, and that's where the mid bass is mounted to. So you've got your 3 layers of soundproofing in there, of course. As you can see, we've also done the back doors as well. So although we haven't upgraded the back door speakers, we've soundproofed the rear doors, which we quite often do. It's good for the acoustics of the car, also reduces road noise and makes the factory speakers sound a little bit better for when you're carrying rear passengers. Inside the car, in these late Golfs, you have to do a build of some description to get the tweeter A to fit properly and B to be on any sort of axis. So we've done a complete A-pillar build, which we do in all these Mk8s and 7s as well, actually. The house has some Mille tweeter down the bottom there. It's all constructed from scratch. So we route out a little perspex ring, which creates our form here. We'll then set the angle up so you can see it's absolutely perfectly on axis. Let's drive it for the other side. Quite a bit of work in making those. It takes a day. Even when you do lots of them, it still takes a day. But you can see the detail and shape in there is quite impressive. So that's all great. Got the factory hedge in it, obviously, because you can't change that. It's got Apple CarPlay, wireless Apple CarPlay, which is very nice and works very well. And sound quality of these hedge units, pretty good. People have asked about optical output. There is no optical output on these hedge units, so we've taken them out and stripped them down. They don't have most, so you can't code them for most. They do have an Ethernet style output, but as yet there's no one that's created an interface to pick up the digital output from that. So there will be eventually, and then we'll have a digital transfer directly from the hedge unit. It's something we look forward to because it is the very best, obviously, in terms of sound quality that you can get. We've used the VXi amplifier on this, so it's a JL Audio amplifier with an inbuilt EQ. It's very effective, very flexible, and there's lots you can do in there. And as a controller for the amplifier, I've actually got it on the side of the column here, so this little controller here. So you press it in and it changes colour, and that lets you know which profile you're set to, so driver focus or neutral focus. And then you've got 2 rings which you can turn. So the end ring we've programmed to control the level of the subwoofer, and the back ring we've used to control the level of the rear speakers. So you can very easily shut those rear speakers off if you're in the car on your own and you don't want any sound in the back. If your rear passengers jump in, you can very quickly bring the sound up in the rear without having to trudge through the menu system on the hedge unit. So that's the front end. One last look at those lovely A-pillar builds to house those Mille tweeters. Coming around to the back of the car, I'll show you what we've done in terms of amplification. Well, I gave it away with the VXi, but I've taken the floor pan out so you can see what we've done. We've used the JL Audio TW5 13-inch subwoofer. Again, we love this sub, we use lots of them, and it just happened to fit perfectly under the floor in these late Golfs, unless of course it's a 4-wheel drive. It doesn't hit the bottom of this panel. I've taken the panel out, it's just sitting over here. It doesn't hit the bottom of the panel in any way, shape or form. But we raised the panel up about 15mm just to enable the bass to vent out around the sides. Now obviously before we've installed this lock, we've stripped it all out, we've thoroughly soundproofed it. Then we make up a little steel bracket which we weld up. We hook it into what would be the spare wheel retainer, poke it through the bottom of the box, and we nut and bolt it from inside. So that is nut and bolted to the floor. There aren't any holes drilled in the car prior to contrary relief. There is the amplifier rack, and here's your 2 amps. So over on the right hand side there, you've got your VXi 606. So again, that's a 6-channel amplifier with an inbuilt digital sound processor, all hooked up to the laptop in the front. And next to it here, we've just got a Class D 601 JL Audio amp. So the 601 is running the subwoofer. The 606 is running the front tweeters, the front mids, and the rear full range. So it's a component that make, but via a passive crossover, the front end is fully active, which is obviously always an advantage, but not 100% necessary. So there you go. That summarises the system configuration. When the floor pan goes in, you can't see any of this at all. Lots of people ask if the floor pan rattles. No, it doesn't. It's a very good sounding system, actually. Really impressive. Just come in today for a little tune-up before we hand it over to the customer. Thanks very much for watching.